Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Dan here with the Moonshine talking, and today we are going to talk about the Melvins Tarantula Heart. Uh, this just came out, I want to say, last week on its Ipecac Recordings. It's five songs. It's about 40 minutes long, and you know you're in for a treat when it's a 40-minute long album and half of it's one song. But anyhow, this is how would I describe the Melvins? I would describe the Melvins as the Melvins, but if you're not familiar with the Melvins, I would say in one word how you describe them would be eclectic. That they're a unique band. They've been around since 1983. This is going to be their 27th studio album, which is crazy to think about that they put out that much music. And then I know they've done EPs and splits and lives and all that sort of stuff. So they've got a ton of material out there for people to listen to. Uh, I first got into them. I kind of wish I dragged it in here with me, but that's all right. I first got into them on Houdini, which came out in I want to say the mid '90s, back when I was in high school. And Honey Bucket was the first song I ever heard of theirs. It was on MTV at the time. I think Beavis and Butthead did something on it, and but that's just a killer song, super heavy. They've been pretty influential on a lot of different bands. Like they between like ambient noise groups and sludge and stoner doom and metal and all that sort of stuff. They kind of like they walk the line between a lot of different genres, and that's why a lot of different bands are and musicians, people have different musical tastes. That's kind of why they gravitate towards them. They're actually, whether or not you're a Nirvana fan or not, I don't know. It's really irrelevant to what I'm about to say, but they were a huge influence on Nirvana. So they've been around forever and they're very well respected, very very revered, very influential on a lot of different genres. And yeah, so that's kind of like give you kind of the backstory on the band itself without going too in depth and in detail. As far as the this album, sorry, it's King Buzzo and Dale Crover. Those are like the main creative forces behind the Melvins. They've been there since the beginning. Dale Crover's on drums. King Buzzo's does guitar and vocals. Uh, Up until recently, which I just found this out doing a little bit of research on the band to try and sound a little bit informed. Cody Willis, who's playing with High on Fire currently, he was their touring drummer because they have sometimes, depending on I guess their mood or what they're going for as far as style wise, they'll have either two guitar players, two bass players, two drummers, just kind of fill out their sound. Um, so he was doing that, but I guess he was also doing it because Dale Crover had spinal surgery. I don't know what kind, and I know how that sucks. But he was touring for them and replacing Dale Crover while he was recuperating. So I thought that was kind of neat. That's pretty cool. But for this album, it was Buzzo, Dale Crover, Roy Mayorga was the second drummer. He also did a lot of the synth work on it. Shane McDonald, who's been with them a while on bass, and Gary Chester, who's a gentleman from a band called We Are the Asteroid, who I'm not really that familiar with. I think I'm not quite 100% positive, but I think that when I saw the Melvins when they were here last year, uh, I think We Are the Asteroid was opening for them, so that might have been the connection there. But a lot of these guys, they all know each other and are kind of, for lack of a better way of describing it, there's kind of like this incestuous pattern, almost kind of like with the Louisiana sludge scene, where a lot of the band members switch in and out because the scene is so tight knit and so insular that they all kind of bounce back and forth through the different bands. But anyhow, as far as that goes, that was that. I thought what really made this album is that it's held together by the drums because they do have the two drummers on this one, and it's just crazy how the drums kind of complement each other. There's fills that are filling in the fills, and they it's a very cool sound that they come up with, having both Dale Crover and Roy Mayorga do the drum work the way it's done. It's especially on Working the Ditch, which is probably my favorite song. That's the first single off the album. That the way that starts off with the way the drums are played, and then it leads into the riffs that Buzzo starts playing in the song. It's super heavy. And like I said, Melvins aren't a metal band, but they're definitely heavy. I know I know Nick from Thralls of Metal. He's been doing a series lately where he's been talking about bands that are heavy, but they're not necessarily metal. And he was talking about like bands like Clutch and Melvins, Nine Inch Nails, KMD, FDM, bands like that they're heavy. They're stuff that probably metalheads and metal fans would get into, but they're not necessarily a metal band. And I agree. The Melvins are definitely heavy. They're as heavy as any metal band, but they're not a metal band. If I know that makes sense, but if anyone watching this, it kind of scratch your head like, what do you mean? That's what I mean. But anyway, give me a second. You can have a swig of I'm trying not to die drink. But yeah, as far as going into like I said, there's only 5 songs on this entire album, which is amusing. The first one's called "Pain Equals Funny," and that's the opener. It's 19 minutes long, and it has these soaring riffs that start the song, and it's really cool. Then that they lead into Buzzo's vocals, which how would I describe his vocal approach? It's I want to use the word weird because I'm not trying to rip off the Thralls guys because that's how they described a lot of the Melvin stuff. But it is weird. It's just very almost not almost like a drunken style, but it's not necessarily the guy's hammered or whatnot, but it's just kind of like a slurry kind of just it's different. It's the Melvins. I don't know how else to describe it. If you know the Melvins, you know how Buzzo's vocal style is. But it's awesome. Then it mixes in they got these underlying bass lines in there that are really cool, and then it shifts to a different passage in the song, and then it starts going into this like really crusty riff that's just dirty and nasty, and they lock into that for like 4.5 minutes, close to 5 minutes, and then it goes into this like almost kind of ambient noise thing that they start doing. They do that for a little while, and yeah, it's tremendous. They can't really complain too much about it. But yeah, usually I wouldn't be too much into a 20-minute song. I'm not really into like that sort of wankery of sorts. I just don't like when bands go too long on stuff like that and they stay too long. But this one doesn't feel like 20 minutes long. It just kind of the pacing of it, the way it's done. It's done really well, and you almost don't even really notice that it's a near 20-minute long song. Like I said, "Work in the Ditch." That's a friggin' heavy. That's a heavy song. The drum fills on it again, and with Buzzo's riffs, it's super heavy. And again, it was the first single they put out to promote the album. Definitely, that would have been the one I would have gone with. She's Got Weird Arms. That's kind of it's just a weird song. Again, I don't. It's a very odd. It's got this odd carnival riff in the middle of it, and that's another thing. It's like there's always these. That's the thing with them is that you have to. It's layered. Their song structure, their music is layered. So you have to when you go beyond just the real heavy, crushing somewhat doom laden riffs, you hear the stuff underneath it, and you can hear a lot of the odd rhythms that they do, and the different styles that they blend together that kind of make their own unique sound. So that's like kind of more of an overall thing. Like it's a mix of grunge and sludge and noise and just a whole bunch of things they toss into a blender, and it works. It works. It's obviously it's worked. They've been together since '83. So there's that one. Allergic to Food was probably the most punky influence number that they had. That's probably if people are more from the metal side of things, if you're more into if you like the Melvins, this is probably more the sound that you'd be more accustomed to with them. And it's killer. It's the most, like I say, it's the most punk oriented song on the album. And but again, more more weird rhythms underneath accenting the song. And then Smiler, it closed out with Smiler, and it's got a riff that the way I described it, it's almost sounds like it could have been in a Twisted Metal video game. Kind of sounds very 90s, very Rob Zombie-ish, and but it works. It's good. I'm not complaining. It was a good song, and again, just very unique, odd timings, unusual rhythms, and unusual notes that are layered underneath, especially when they start using synthesizers and effects. I'll say that right, and just a bunch of stuff like that. So yeah, this is overall. If I were to, I'm going to give this a 4.5 stank face. That's what that's gonna get because the Melvins rule. They're just a fantastic band. They're awesome. Uh, they're good live. The one thing I would say about them live when I saw them at least is sometimes they kind of rush through the songs, which kind of don't like. You know, there's certain songs that I want to hear from them, and then they're blasting through it at 1,000 miles an hour. It's like, okay, I actually kind of wanted to hear that. Maybe not quite verbatim with the album, but it would be nice if you guys took your time a little bit. I mean, I understand you're probably not getting paid by the hour, but anyhow. So yeah, if you like if you like the Melvins, you're familiar with the Melvins, even if you haven't picked some of their stuff up in a while. If you like stuff like the Butthole Surfers, uh, any sort of punk stuff, sludge stuff, any Doomier stuff, you're gonna enjoy this. I mean, the Melvins rule. I can't say enough. The Melvins rule. That's the best thing I can. It's the only way I can describe it. It's Melvins rule, and I would definitely pick this one up. It's worth it. It's definitely at the top of my list. I've been enjoying it since it came out. I've listened to it many times already, and it's a good listen. It's an easy listen again for a 20-minute song. Pain Equals Funny it doesn't feel like a 20-minute long song. It is funny, but it's not painful. So yeah, so that is my review of Tarantula Heart by the Melvins. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to do that real quick, get it out there. I've been planning on doing this for a while. Got a couple more reviews coming up. Actually picked up the new Deicide, so I'm going to give that a couple of spins before I give my thoughts on that. Going to do an Ace Frehley one. Uh, I'm gonna do a video. I went out. It's Saturday morning, and I went out Friday night because there was a show at the Brass Mug. I happened to be in the area, and I saw that a drum set was being moved into the building on it was Thursday, and it turned out that there was a show going on that night. But I went online and looked to see who was playing. When, in all honesty, I probably should have just stopped and asked the people that were walking in there, but I didn't. So it turned out I saw that there was one Friday, but there was one Thursday night. I ended up missing it, but I guess that's good because you don't want to spend too much money. So I ended up going to a black metal show Friday night. So upload some stuff and show some of that and talk about some of the bands that I saw. It was good. It was a bunch of local bands, and but they were really good, and it was just cool to be out there and have fun and get out, get out of the house, go enjoy some good music. So yeah, so that's that. So if you like this, I hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Share it around, tell people. Love to see more people come here and watch the videos, comment on them, get discussions going about stuff. And yeah, that's it. I'm just babbling at this point. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. Actually, no, I'm not done babbling. I'm going to post this Saturday afternoon. If any of you have nothing to do Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m., Scott from No Solution and Trevor from Fumes of Hatred are doing a live stream together. Uh, Check it out if you want. I'm sure it's gonna be pretty good. They're pretty cool dudes. They got some good opinions on music. They got some good taste in music, and they're entertaining. I enjoy their content. I watch it when I can, and they're good dudes. They support my channel, so I have to support theirs. Show a little love their way. And yeah, so if you have nothing to do, 3 p.m. on Sunday, the 28th, they're doing a live stream. So go check it out on YouTube. If not, I'm sure they'll understand. But yeah, that's it. So for now, stay sick, stay heavy, stay brutal. Always tuck your chin upon impact. Don't forget to breathe. So long from the Sunshine State, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.